There is such a creature in the world. They were discovered by a few people, but it has not been confirmed to exist. We refer to this group of creatures as unidentified mysterious animal, unidentified organism referred to as UMA. Hello and welcome to the UMA video series. Currently, mainstream derived zoology holds that there may still be something hidden in Asia. Unknown species of personnel with higher intelligence level, or more primitive humans. With North America, half of the humanoids in different shapes are different. Except for the different sizes of height and body shape, initial reports of sightings in Asia, they're all very similar. It's like the mandal belong in India, the zebra rush of Bangladesh, savage of Shenangjia, the Himalayan snowman, and so on. Whether these creatures are crushing humans or some large undiscovered beast, these legends have become an indispensable part of hell culture. Today's topic: it's South Asia, Sri Lanka, wilderness race and folklore. You talk about me? Nitawo is also called Nitawo. It's a savage in Sri Lankan folklore. Humans are often described as short in stature. Cruel humanoid race. Height between 0.9 to 1 meters. Walking upright, covered with black or brownish red hair. Dark skin. Arm is short, and very sharp nails, like the claws of a beast. They have their own language. Group life. Will hunt some small and medium mammals. A white rabbit Thai. He was a famous Moroccan traveler in the 14th century. For almost 30 years, beginning in 1325, it has been through, including Kenya, Iran, Turkey, India, China, 44 countries including Spain. His footsteps almost covered the influence of Islamic civilization at that time, all major regions, a pre-Columbian globetrotter. In 1354, after his return to Morocco, what he saw during his travels, recorded in written form. It's called Depression Gasoline St. Lan. He mentions in the book, West Island, that's where the mountains of Sri Lanka are today. There is a black monkey. They have long tails. The males are just like human males. Long beard. The locals say these monkeys have a leader who acts like a king. He would put a wreath of leaves on his head. Support your body with a stick. As he sits, the other monkeys can only stand behind him. They even have parties. Gather food, follow orders, beating up other monkeys, etc. Although from the visual depiction, the author may be referring to assets originating in Sri Lanka, blackleaf throat, but the social behaviors mentioned later suggest that, if duty records are not fables, they're more like intelligent creatures. Although there is no name recorded, but this may be the first mention of Tabo, one of the written records, and the first relative about Nitawo. Reliable records appeared in 1886 by British officials, academic journals by Hugh Neville. Taparabania? Here, due to the length of the text, so I sort of summed it up. At Betty Crozen's, Luo Ran told him, the Ta Wo, it's a half-human, half-tree race. has lived in Peru since ancient times. Figure of Lanama? They look like stars. But there are similarities with humans. Walking upright, covered with red hair. Their claws are sharp and very strong. Occasionally flocks down the mountain to forage for food. Steal the jerky dried by the Vader hunter. For fear of the claws you hate. Hunters usually take cover. Note that based on the other information I have collected, Linama here is referring to. It's not like Linama in southwest Sri Lanka, but the southeast coast, near Mahalenama Cave. And the Vedic refers to living in southeastern Sri Lanka, a minority in the district. Later, an elderly Vader hunter told Neville, the Nitawo are a bunch of brutal savages. They live in the trees in the Lanama area, building houses out of leaves and branches. They have their own language, and very aggressive. Will attack all the great ones who enter their territory. Many years ago, the ancestors of this hunter once fought against you. Finally, the latter group was forced into a cave and lit firewood at the entrance of the cave. The fire lasted for 3 days. Exterminated the entire Nitawo family. In 1915, a Sri Lankan scholar, Frederick Lewis, in his Vader region, it is mentioned in the Animal and Plant Notes, his current employer told him, Local Vita once received a man named Nitawo. Such as racial harassment. They have about 10 to 40 people in each small group. He's about 3 feet tall. Females are shorter than males. All naked. They look like normal humans. Walking upright, no tail. Live in a cave. In the crevices of trees or cliffs in the library. From Bagyura in the east, all the way to the Kataligama Mountains in the west. There are traces of them. You step on my arm, short and powerful. Strong hands will surround the sleeping movement at night, and shredded it with claw-like nails. And the Vedic are among them. You hit me? We'll peek at their stomachs while they are asleep. Liangzhu is the eternal enemy. So they decided to exterminate these lovers. According to Lewis' current account, about 3 or 4 generations ago, one tower is extinct. His grandfather's family also involved in the burning of Camp Nitawo. Later, Lewis also rents to 2 other tribes. The old people there also told the same story. This record seems to confirm it's true that Nitawo lived at the same time as the Vedic. It's just that the former doesn't have a powerful bow, arrows and weapons, and eventually wiped out. In 1933, a Sri Lankan writer, Richard Lionel Spelt, in his writings, In the Art of Distant Things, recorded him in the Renama area. A 2-week visit. And add 2, Matavos are a bunch of hairy dwarfs. As soon as they see humans, they will attack and tear the flesh of the victim. They are most afraid of buffalo and dogs. Utanga Hela was their last. The place of extermination. 1963. The Royal Asian Society Sharon Summit is launching. Recorded the top position of Sri Lanka that time. Lamberquell led an expedition to the Mahalenama region, looking for signs of Nitawo. They are at the ruins of Kutimbigala. conducted several experimental excavations, discovered a large number of mollusk shells, silicon shells, and tiny vertebrae. It is said that Nitawo ate on these animals, although in the end they did not find small human skeleton. But in the forest, they stumbled upon one, a stone structure resembling a miniature megalithic town. The local Vedas say that's the ruins of the altar of Nitawo. Unfortunately, the site of the expedition's photographs is long gone. We can't use pictures. Understand the situation. But Rambo Cowell's theory holds that so-called Nitawo, they're actually descendants of the ancient southern plains. In 1997, the American researcher Bobby Shaw, especially on the website of the Big Stirring directory he founded, recorded a report. Spanish anthropologist Salvador Martinez. Nitawo was seen with Sri Lanka in 1984. He described the creatures as having a human appearance. The body is covered with a layer of long hair. Part of the skin is scabbed. The above record, also the first time some scholars have reported seeing this creature. But please count my limited ability. I didn't find it. The details of this anthropologist. Same name or abbreviation. Write the names of all searchable scholars. No record of travel to Sri Lanka. Therefore, I cannot guarantee the credibility of this account. Nitawo's eyewitness report, and it's really dense in the 21st century. Especially in early 2019. We can now go online. Related reports found. Interview. Almost all started at this point in time. For example, February 2019, a woman in Veresma said he saw Nitawo into the woods behind his house and crushed branches along the way. Take central Sri Lanka. Chief of the Dombana Radar tribe, Uluvirg, said in an interview that he has more than once heard grandfather tell the story of Nitawo. That race, it was still active in the forest about 400 years ago. They are like ordinary people. They formed their own society. There may still be a few spiritual ones alive. Because the news is in Sangaro. There may be differences in translation, but there is no denying it. In 2019, southeast Sri Lanka, southwest, and suspected sightings in the central region. Nitawo's eyewitness report. But what kind of creature is it? The academic community disagrees. The first is the theory of unknown races. Professor Spilt, as mentioned above, believes that Nitawo, possibly early settlers in Sri Lanka, Negritos, namely dwarf black, one of the oldest people in Southeast Asia, including the Samans of peninsular Malaysia, the Andamans of the Andaman Islands. The Moni Islands in Thailand have about 30 ethnic groups. The image of the Negrito is similar to that of the black race. Flat nose, dark skin, curly hair, but they are generally short in stature. The average adult male is usually less than 1.5 meters tall. Women are shorter. It could be deworming evolution and positive selection. And to adapt, due to the new tropical rainforest mechanism. Spelt thinks there is still a Negrita deficiency in southern India. While Sri Lanka, there may have been this group in the first place. But the change of regional rulers, We had to let them do it. Mass ethnic migration. And that's Nitawo. Another conclusion he mentioned was that what people see in Nitawo, maybe it's a bear that's native to Sri Lanka. Sloth bear. But his speculation was not accepted by the locals. Sloth bears are also called Indian bears. It's the only species in the genus sloth bear, mainly inhabited in India, Nepal, Bhutan, and the tropical forests of Sri Lanka. Grasslands and hilly areas adapt to drought or humid environments. The individual body length of an adult male, between 1.5 meters and 1.8 meters. Smaller females, covered with fluffy black hair. A light-colored, U-shaped chest spot on the neck. General nocturnal. Prefer to eat termites, ants, and other insects, as well as fruits and honey. Like most speculation about Bigfoot, the way the bear stands up may lead people to mistakenly believe a large, fur-catching ape. But the occult zoologist, Professor Boner Chu Wellmans, believes that neither of these theories makes sense. First of all, although the fur of sloth bears is black, but despite being threatened, when there is still a need for a secret room, he doesn't exhibit intellectual behavior. That's because sloth bears have long torsos, and the center of gravity is shallow, less stable than humans or primates. Standing upright for a long time is more prone to fatigue, and although brother land is a meat-eating wood, but they mainly feed on termites and ants. Chickens can prey during surgery. Other small mammals. Attacks on humans are even rarer. 1945, University of Edinburgh psychosimologist William Charles Osman. You've also worked on the Nitawo mystery. Systematic visit study. He agreed with Professor Hugh Wellmans that Nitawo couldn't have been a Negrito, because in Sri Lanka, Vedic versus Negalitos, there is a phenomenon of fainting, especially in the Damangadura region. And Nitawo and the Vedas have been at war. And there are still differences in the image of the two. Nitawo is significantly smaller. Professor Hugh Wellmans wrote in his 1955 book, Tracking Unknown Creatures is Depicted in Art. Compared to unknown races, gibbons may better fit Nitawo's description. Here he mainly mentions the present day, located in Sumatra, and the origin of the Malay Peninsula. This is currently known, the largest long-armed protozoa. The average height is about 1 meter. Body length between 70 to 90 cm. Matches Nitawo's body type. And more than round hair is black. They also have the habit of walking on their hind legs for a long time. They mainly feed on fruits, occasionally picking up insects and bird eggs. Although it is far from the bloodthirsty characteristics of Nitawo, far from it, but Professor Hugh Wellmans thinks the Vedas probably exaggerated and smeared them. Characteristics of the enemy, Professor Shell agrees. With a giant gibbon, it makes perfect sense to explain Nitawo. But at the same time, he also proposed the round man theory is more likely, because we have discovered Javanese, China's blue sky people, Yuan someone, Beijing Yuan person, etc. This shows that apes have been found in most of Asia. The Sri Lanka region has become one of the ape people safe areas to avoid intruders. They arrived here 5000 BC and survived until 18 dozen. But the problem with this theory is that the height of the ape man obviously higher than the legendary Nitawo. Professor Hugh Wilmans pointed out that if the destined person really arrives in Sri Lanka, then they are likely to have developed into, such as among people. That's what we now call fighting words such as words. Prohibit. Organisms are limited in their population range. In a smaller environment, evolution and body loss. This selective process is particularly evident in mammals. Smaller size means territory. The decrease in the cost of living, such as food, and shortened gestation and generational time, more conducive to breeding. Especially since Sri Lanka is in the tropics. Smaller body size also allows for faster thermoregulation. And in 2003, in the Indonesian island of Flores discovered. It also seems to confirm this point of view. According to the data sample you found, this species lived here about 50,000 years ago. Their average height is just over a meter. Brain size is too small. These valuations, beyond the normal height range for modern humans, may be found so far. One of the smallest members of the human population. Scientists speculate that their body shape is probably due to the decrease in island ecosystem resources. In fact, from the scholars' literature, they think Nitawo must be a species that have existed or have not been identified. I personally think, if Nitawo, it really exists and fits the description in the rumors. So the FAR theory is still the most plausible. After all, there is a language to communicate with, no tail, live in groups, social behavior, and so on. This is a unique and intelligent creature. But the question is whether his legend is reliable. Now, superstition is quite common in Sri Lanka. Like an astrological sign, snake worship, magic worship, etc. There is also cultural nuance among different religions. Briefly talk about a few animal cases. Sri Lankans believe you get leprosy when you scratch your hind foot. The cry behind will summon the devil. When complaining, the leopard becomes bloodthirsty, etc. But they vary widely. But such a mysterious statement. It is true that some people still believe. So I wonder if it's possible that Nitawo. It's a common type of inspiration animal. Just like the property monkey mentioned above. Just because of the expansion of human gathering places, or the former long-term plunder, the survival resources of great tribes, and eventually lead to one or more groups exterminated by humans, and the centralized sightings reported in 2019, I think. Very low credibility. An animal that has been missing for hundreds of years suddenly appeared all over Sri Lanka. Even invasive species shouldn't be so fast. Of course, these are just some of my personal guesses. It's like the hominid problem. In the absence of a systematic review of the Lanama area, excavation did not find regret cases. No one can prove Nitawo, as a rounder race, lived here. After all, unknown, forever greater than the known. That's the beauty of perfection. This video is here. Thanks for watching.